Hello, Washington Liberty Chemistry students. This is your Unit 2 lesson on dimensional analysis. So here are a couple definitions. What is dimensional analysis? It's a method we're going to teach you for converting between units. And to do that, we use something called a conversion factor, which is a fractional quantity that we use to convert the units. Best is to show you an example. So key is to keep track of the units. You might note that units can cancel just like numbers. That's the key to dimensional analysis. Now, an example of a conversion factor is we know that 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. Really, look on your ruler. You will see 1 inch corresponds to 2.54 centimeters. Now, our conversion factors we usually write as fractional quantities, either 2.54 centimeters over 1 inch or 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. But the key here is that we're going to use the idea that units can cancel just like numbers in order to solve these problems and to be sure that we are doing them correctly. So here's a single step with a conversion factor. Convert 12 inches into centimeters. The way we set up this problem is we identify the given. In this case, it's 12 inches. We identify the wanted. We want to convert it into centimeters. And we identify the correct conversion factor. Well, we know 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. So again, as we said before, units can cancel just like numbers. So just like if you had a number on the top and the bottom, then you could cancel it, you can also cancel units. So we're going to cancel the word inch, and this is going to show us and leave us with centimeters. So 12 times 2.54 is going to give us 30.48. Now we're going to round to the correct number of significant digits, which is 30.5. But you can see that this tells you that you multiply because the inches canceled and what you're left on the top is the centimeters. And again, in terms of significant digits, just a little side note, don't worry about this. This is a definition. 1 inch equals 2.54 centimeters. So we don't worry about this having just one significant figure. It doesn't. It actually has infinite. We're going to match this 12 to 2.54, giving us 3 significant figures. But again, what I want you to see is 12 times 2.54 gives us 30.5. And indeed, if you look at your ruler, your 12-inch ruler, you will see the other side corresponds to 30.5 centimeters. Let's do another one. So suppose, on the other hand, we wanted to convert 12 centimeters into inches. Again, how does dimensional analysis work? Well, we start with a given, which is 12 centimeters. The wanted is inches. And then we set up the conversion factor so that the units cancel, leaving us with the unit we want. So centimeters on the top, centimeters on the bottom cancel. And that leaves us with 12. And again, when it's on the bottom, we divide. 12 divided by 2.54. So that's going to be 4.72 inches. Okay? And again, look on your ruler. Find 12 centimeters. And you will see that it corresponds to about 4 3/4 inches. All right. Now, you may have thought you could do that on your own without doing this funny, canceling units. Let's try one that's a little more complicated. How many inches in 145 meters? And this is what we know. We know 1 inch is 2.54 centimeters, and 100 centimeters is 1 meter. Here are all our possible combinations. We don't have a direct conversion from meters to centimeters. So we're going to have to use both of these to solve this problem. So let's set it up. Our given is 145 meters. Our wanted is inches. Here are all of our possible factors. Which one can we use to cancel out meters? Well, if you said this one, you'd be correct. So notice if we did this, we can cancel out factors. If we did 145 times 100, that would leave us with centimeters. We would have converted to centimeters, but we want to get to inches. So we have to use that second conversion factor. Here is that second conversion factor. 2.54 centimeters equals an inch. Again, notice we can cancel units. So we've got 145 times 100. That would give us centimeters. And then we're canceling centimeters by dividing by 2.54. That will give us essentially this many inches. Notice how everything cancels except for inches. And again, just for significant figures, that would be 5,709 inches. Okay. Let's try one that's even more weird and wonky. And remember, with conversion factors, whatever's on the top we multiply, whatever's on the bottom we divide by. So here's one that I think you'd have a hard time doing without conversion factors. You decide to make your career wrapping hamburgers. Every 3 hours, you wrap 55 hamburgers. You work 8 hours a day, 5 days a week. You get paid $455 every 2 weeks after taxes. How many burgers will you have to wrap to make your first million? So let's set this up. First of all, notice within this problem, there are tons of conversion factors we can set up. We know that 3 hours equals 55 burgers. 8 hours equals 1 day, because we don't work 24 hours a day. That's our work day. 5 days equals 1 week, because we have our weekends. And we get paid $455 every 2 weeks. All right? Now, what are we starting with? What is the unit that we're trying to convert? Well, we're given $1 million, and we're trying to make, let's see how many burgers we have to wrap. So these are our very weird units, but we have lots of conversion factors to help us. So here's our given, $1 million. Here's our wanted burgers, and here are all our conversion factors. So you might want to pause the video and see if you can set this up. But you're going to want to look and see, well, what's the first thing I'm going to want to cancel? Dollars. So dollar, this is the first conversion factor you'll have to use. So let's look at what you need to do. So here's $1 million, and here are conversion factors. 2 weeks is $455. Okay, so we can cancel this. If we were to stop here, do 1 million times 2 divided by 455, we would have converted it to weeks that we would have to work. But we don't want weeks. Remember, we want hamburgers. So we have this next conversion factor that 5 days equals 1 week. Notice again, the factors cancel, and we're left with days. So if we did 1 million times 2 times 5 divided by 455 divided by 1, that would give us how many days we'd have to work. But that's not what we wanted. We wanted burgers. Now, here's our next conversion factor. Days cancel. So 1 million times 2 divided by 455 times 5 times 8 will give us how many hours. Finally, our final conversion factor. We have 8 hours, and 3 hours is 55 hamburgers. We have finally reached at the top the unit we want. If you put this into your calculator, 1 million times 2 divided by 455 times 5 times 8 times 55 divided by 3, you should get 3,223,443 hamburgers to make your million. And that is your lesson on dimensional analysis.